The next question, and I think I can put this one up. And this is another great one. How can I help a loved one who is taking a break from church, faith, and doing things that I don't like? Boy, what any thoughts, comments, questions on that one? Let me know. That can be a really hard thing, isn't it? Um, when you know that somebody is starting to head down a path that is going to lead to some problems and lead to some heartache, boy, it's hard to let them walk that path, isn't it? You want to grab them, you want to stop them, you want to protect them, you want to keep them safe, and you want to fix things. And as I thought a lot about that one, I kind of came to a conclusion that I think applies to really all of these questions, and maybe I'll just share that here now. And that is that somewhere along the way, I think a lot of us picked up the idea that life is meant to be perfect, that life needs to go exactly how we think it should. That includes for ourselves and for those that we love. And sometimes a lot of the deepest pains that we have come from watching others that we love go through hard things. One of the reasons that I love this foundation that I'm a part of and why I love this shirt is because of this logo here, this motto here. And the concept is to love the hard, right? Love hard. And it means two things, right? It means to love with all depth of soul and heart and mind and body, right? To love just passionately, to love hard, but also to just love the hard, because it's the hard that really kind of makes us and helps us. And I think we live in a day and time where we want to make things so easy that we sometimes rob people of the opportunity to learn and to grow for themselves. And we got to keep in mind that life isn't meant to be perfect. It just isn't, right? We're not meant to live it that way, and we're not going to get it 100% right all the time. Whether it's ourselves or being a parent or a friend or trying to help somebody, we just aren't. Life is really meant to be an experience. And when we can shift our mind and begin to look at life as an experience, it really makes things free to happen and provide that experience, right? Sometimes for good or sometimes for bad. Either way, it's an experience that can help us to learn and to grow and to move in the right direction eventually, right? And I guess the thing I have to draw on for myself is my own story when it comes to this, because as my family would tell you, I struggled with things myself, especially in these last few years with my divorce and a breakup that was really painful for me. I found myself kind of going in a direction that I never really thought I would. I wasn't, you know, I was questioning things I had never had up to that point. And so I watched as my family kind of struggled with knowing what to do. How do we help them? How do we stabilize them? How do we, all this kind of stuff. Really what they did two things. One, they just kept loving me. They just kept loving me, and they didn't pile on with disappointment, with making me feel less than what I was. They gave me space through that love, and allowing me to just to go through what I was going through and to work through it in my own way. The other thing they did was they made sure to allow me to know what they were thinking and what they were feeling. Right? They didn't hold back. They let me know those kinds of things in a loving way. They shared their thoughts. They shared their feelings about some of the things I was doing or the direction I was heading. And I may not have loved to hear it at the time, but I am so grateful and appreciative now, right? Looking back, because at the time, it's and this is where it gets hard, is that people we want to fix things, right? We want to fix someone when they're hurting. We want to take the pain away. And sometimes that's just not what we need, right? We need people to listen. We need empathy. We need a hug. We need just understanding and patience. And and my family was really good at that. I didn't love, a lot of the suggestions at the time where they were given it. I didn't love you know, the things that they were telling me I should do or shouldn't do, but I know that their intent was coming from a good place. But what I appreciated most was just the love. And so I think when it comes to that, that would be my advice. If you have somebody that is choosing to step away from faith, from their church, and making decisions that you just know are going to lead to heartache, just keep loving them. Just keep loving them and trusting the process, right? Trust that we were all God's children before anybody else's, and He's very acutely aware of what each of us are going through, and He's put things into place long before we ever needed them to help us through our challenges and our moments of frustration and pain and doubt and all those kind of things. And the best thing that you can do, and I did a podcast on this that you can look at. I would definitely recommend. It's been one of my favorites, but it's titled "The Principle of Contrast." And it's based on experience I had driving home one night. We have different buildings throughout our valley that are called temples, and they just light up at night. They're beautiful to see. And I just remember as I was driving home, going through some hard things, that I could look out through our valley and see several of these buildings. I just noticed how much brighter they stood out when it was dark than when it was during the day. I never noticed them driving around during the day, but at night, absolutely, I could see them. And I thought, that's a lot of what we can rely on, and a principle that we could use, especially with loved ones that are maybe moving towards what we consider to be dark places, right? Maybe the best thing that we could do is turn on our light as bright as we possibly can, right? Maybe instead of trying to fix everything in somebody else, we try to fix everything in ourselves and get our light, our happiness, our peace, our joy as bright as it can. Because I promise you, as anybody moves in that kind of direction, the darkness becomes very real and it becomes very palpable, and they'll feel it and they'll experience it, but they'll see the darkness better for what it is up against light. They may not be ready to come back into the light right away, right? Because sometimes it hurts. If you turn off the lights in a dark room and you stay in the darkness for a little while, if you notice what happens when you turn on the light, hurts your eyes, right? And I used to have students who do this all the time when I'd show them, videos or whatever. I'd flip on the lights and they'd be like, "Oh, Brother Downs, I can't see. Turn off the lights." It hurt them. They weren't ready, right, to come into light. There needs to be gradual, and they need to take their own steps, right? We just want to throw the light on them, but if we can give them the light to see, right, and to have a contrast against the dark that they may be going through or experiencing, I believe that's one of the most powerful things we can do to help people find their way back. So that would be my advice on that one. I think, if I were to coach anybody on that, it would entail, trusting the process, not trying to rush in and fix everything, because you can cause more damage that way. And just trusting the principle of contrast and focus on increasing your light. Right, and that's kind of the Savior's injunction. Let your light so shine before men that they may see, right, your good works and come to know God better, right? Help others want to get to know God better because they know you. And then the one thing you can always do is just pray, right? Just continue to pray and just trust that they'll find their way, and just continue to love. So I think those would be the key elements that I put for that question. And I appreciated the person that sent that question in. And let me see. Stacy has a comment. In my experience, they want to know that they're still loved and respected, and I request that my faith be respected as well. Yeah, and I there you go, Stacy. I think that's a great comment, right? And that's it. We want to be accepted, right? Whoever we are, wherever we are. That's the number one thing. And we're already our worst critics, right? And when we're going through hard things, I'll just tell you from personal experience, when you go through pain, mental, emotional, you do things that you wouldn't normally do. And sometimes it's all you can do to manage that pain. Sometimes you're just trying to escape it. Sometimes you're just trying to find solutions to just keep going in life in general. And so I've watched as other people come really down on somebody, right? Like, why are you doing this? Why are you doing that? And it is so defeating to them. Now, I get you got to speak your mind and give your opinions, but I think there's a way that you can do it from a place of love as opposed to a place of, shame. And I think that's the big difference. And to just respect people where they are, love them where they are, be an example, and allow them to go through what they're going through to get there. So thank you, Stacy, for commenting on that one. The next question I have